welcome to day 3. Today we are going to talk about how we can use fossils to interpret the past, specifically in 3 different ways. But before we start, I have another think to yourself activity. This time I want you guys to go ahead and think about your favorite outdoor place. It can be your backyard, it can be a park. And now I want you guys to imagine that you are a paleontologist at the same site 65 million years from now. And these are the questions I want you to ask yourself. What kind of fossils do you think you will find or when you dig the area? And based on the fossils you found, how would you reconstruct this place? Now go ahead and pause this video if you like, and I will see you when you come back. Hello, so now that you're back, let's talk about how we can use fossils for interpreting the past, or how we can use fossils to gain more knowledge about what happened in the past. First, we can obviously look or understand the information that it presents, right? So first we need to know that fossil records don't actually give us an exact information or exact or accurate sketch of what happened in the history. It is more like a rough draft or a rough sketch of what might have happened in the history of life on Earth, right? And this is because some parts of the history are more complete when others are not. Now let's talk about the hard-bodied organisms from yesterday. Now, hard-bodied tissues like bones or shells or wood is easier to be preserved compared to soft-bodied organisms or tissues like flesh or muscles, right? So we would probably have more information about those with hard bodies. And we also need to think about organisms that lived in an environment that favored fossilization. Just because an organism was buried does not give it a guarantee. Just because the organism did decay or did decompose does not give it a guarantee that it's going to end up becoming fossilized. If an organism was buried in area with area where sedimentation was higher, obviously it might have a better chance of fossilization than those which were not. So all of these factors play a very important role that we need to consider. And of course, fossil records are also incomplete because a lot of the organisms don't actually end up becoming fossils, and there are a lot more that are yet to be discovered. Now, let's talk about the history of environmental changes. So we can use fossils to kind of understand the history of environmental changes. Now, there are a lot of cases where marine fossils actually were found on mountaintops. Now, logically, this does not make sense. How did marine animal or marine fossil end up on a mountaintop? But if you think about it, it makes sense because in such case, it's probably the case that the rocks on such mountains or mountaintops were formed in a completely different area. Or in this case, like in the bottom of an ocean, right? And due to certain reasons or geologic changes like movement of plate tectonics and so on, it probably was pushed towards the surface and higher, making it reach the mountaintop, right? And so fossil records can actually be used to reveal a lot of information about the environmental changes that occurred in the past. Marine fossils can actually also help scientists to reconstruct ancient coastlines and deepening and shallowing of ancient seas. So by measuring how far it was when it first originated from the surface, we can kind of understand the layout better of the Earth's past, right? And of course, we can also use fossils of plants and animals to kind of understand past climates. We can look at what kind of plant it was, and does it thrive in warmer regions or cooler regions, what kind of animal it was, do they normally live in warmer temperatures or cooler temperatures. So these are all information that we can use to kind of hint at the past climatic conditions of a given area. So now when you look over here, it says they can tell whether climate in an area was cooler or wetter than it is at present. Next, we have history of changing organisms. As you all know, organisms are always adapting. We are adapting right now. Our cells are adapting right now, right? They're evolving. So fossils can be used to kind of understand the changes that it went through in the past years. By studying the relationship between fossils, scientists actually can interpret and learn how life has changed over time. And the way they use this, they can do this is by checking the type of organisms or the type of fossils that are contained in older rock layers and younger rock layers. It is very much possible that older rock layers probably have species that don't even exist anymore. How did these organisms change, or how did they adapt, or how did they go extinct? These are certain things that can be learned if you just dig a little deeper. Again, only a fraction of organisms that have existed in the Earth's history has been fossilized. This only goes back to the previous point that I already mentioned. Just because an organism was buried and is decaying does not mean it has become a fossil, right? And because the fossil records are incomplete, it does not provide us or the paleontologists with a continuous record of change. If you think about it, it's not continuous, and we have kind of like blanks, and we are expected to kind of fill in those blanks with the other types of information that we have. So we look for similarities between different types of fossils, or we looked at similarities between a fossilized organism and their closest living relatives, and try to kind of fill in the blanks in the fossil records. For example, the woolly mammoth, right? We know that it is a type of species that went extinct, but its closest relative are elephants, right? So we would probably kind of try to understand how they probably adapted or how they went extinct, and we would try to fill in those gaps using these different kind of informations that we have from the past and the future. Isn't that exciting? Well, that is all that I have for you guys today. I hope you guys were able to follow through this. If not, again, please go ahead and follow up with me, and I will try my best to get back to you as soon as I can. And that is all. I will see you guys later. Bye.